VeChain has a reputation in the blockchain space for doing a lot of projects around supply chain. Can you talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, I think that this idea of data notarization and compliance and having that record of what moves from where, that's kind of what this all comes down to. So when you've got a product like our ketchup example, you've got tomatoes that are being sourced from multiple suppliers. And so with supply chain, you can actually notarize the orders, notarize the sale of those tomatoes, and create a record of that. So you're using public ledger to actually create a more transparent way of communicating where the upstream ingredients of something are coming from, right? And then on the flip side, you can then take that information and make that visible to the consumer. So the consumer can actually look like, are the tomatoes actually organic? So you're creating a system where on the one hand, suppliers are relying on this immutable ledger to trust each other and solve disputes. And then the consumer on the other side, the consumer is holding the brand to account by looking at the information that they're declaring about the brand. So
Yeah.
there's a sort of supplier piece and there's a consumer marketing piece. Alex, I mean, you from your perspective at Blue Byte, I mean, you might have some thoughts on the whole consumer side of this supply chain piece and how that might be interesting to a brand.
Yeah, what you just discussed is definitely an important tenet of a lot of what consumers are looking for nowadays. They're looking to make sure that the brand that they're spending their investment on has sustainable goals. They have a stance on circularity, and to say it on social media is one thing, but to see it after you've scanned a product is another thing. Whether you want to debate if the trust is inherent that was in the product, you can debate that till the end of time. However, from an audience perspective, from a consumer perspective, there's a lot of peace of mind when you get that product in hand. You're able to scan it. You see the provenance of the entire ecosystem of how this product was made, where it was sourced, how was it manufactured. All these things are really important in making during the purchase decision. And so, yeah, to your point, provenance, traceability, authenticity are very, very important tenets of what we do for the consumer experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Alex, I think that an offshoot of this that is pretty fascinating is that when brands are going to be held to that higher standard, you're going to start to see where brands are inflating their value, right? So you're going to have premium products marketing themselves as a premium product.
Yeah.
And when they're actually held to that standard of data notarization and supply chain transparency, you're going to quickly see, like, does this brand really deserve that or not? Because if there's a generic product that's much cheaper, that has a similar provenance in terms of the immutable ledger, then you're actually going to be able to feel as confident purchasing that lower branded product or lower price product as you would the premium, right? So I think what's going to happen is blockchain notarization is going to erode the given around certain, luxury products. And we're seeing this with dog food of all things. Millennials are so demanding about the ingredients in their dog foods that a lot of pet food companies that have historically been leaders in the space are suddenly getting into a lot of trouble because consumers aren't buying their product anymore because they know it's literally dog food, literally garbage. And so, I think that that's a good example of, it's not blockchain related yet, although VeChain is working with a lot of pet food companies in the Chinese market. But I think that, like, as consumers start to demand more transparency around not only their own food, but the food for their pets, et cetera, we're going to start to see, is the brand really deserving of that premium mark, or can I spend my money on a cheaper product? I think we're going to see prices. In some ways, this could have a positive impact on consumer good prices over the long term.
Yeah, and I think give consumers more control to demand this accountability as you're talking about. I can especially see this in the fashion industry.